everybody, I'm Allison Cope and welcome to Scrapbooking Cards Today. Today we're going to make a fun night scene to put our little witch on from Crafting Kimmy Stamps. So let's get started. So we're going to use our Copic markers and our Copic air system. And this is the air grip, and this is how you load a Copic marker. Copic markers have two ends and we're going to use this end. So you take the cap off and basically match the angle of the marker to the angle of the air distribution system at the end there, and away you go. And we're going to start with our lightest Copic color, V01. And I always test my markers off to the side. So I'm just going to do that on my scrap. I always test them off to the side because I don't want to get dark spots. I want to make it a nice even blend. So I've just got my 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 square here. I'm not sure how big I'm going to make my card, so that's what I cut it to start off with. Just depressing the top of the air grip. And just slowly adding color. You can hear my compressor a little bit. The Copic air system is pretty quiet. Just putting a good base down. You can actually put these markers in the other direction. You actually get a different spatter from the brush tip. Believe it or not, we're going to add a little bit of yellow to the bottom. This is a Y08. And I'm going to turn it around. There we go. Nice Halloween glow. So there's the base of back of our card. Put our image on. Alright, we're going to add a little bit of starry background. I pulled my Falling Snow stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and we're going to use some sheer shimmer spritz from Sukuniko. I'm just going to spray it over top. This is their gold shimmer spritz, and of course it's just going to hit that card base through the holes. And this is really easy. You just take it to the sink, give it a good wash. You can sort of see the shimmer. There we go. Okay, on with the next step. So I really love the idea of putting some branches and stuff in the background. And I really like this Garden Bear Branches designer stencil by Memory Box. So I think we're actually going to use the stencil in a different manner. We're actually going to ink it up and use it as a stamp. So let's give that a whirl. I'm going to go with a nice juicy VersaFine black onyx ink, because this has got quite a bit of ink on it, so it should work a little bit better than my not so inky black Memento. So we're going to ink up our stencil. Trying to get all the little itty bitties. We're going to set that aside. And we're going to put that on top. That's why I always have scrap paper. And press that down. Give it a good rub. Mix that paper without trying to move it, so you have to be very careful. I've got my hand holding it down. Slowly lift and reveal. Just hold that in place for a second more. Well, did something. And you know what? At least it gives us an outline. We can go in and use a very fine marker and add in all the detail. So let's try it one more time. I'm actually going to use the reverse side, so I'm going to flip it over again. Link it up. There we go. So I'm going to go in with my multi-liner, my Copic multi-liner, and I'm going to go fill that in, and I'll be right back. There we go. I used my Copic multi-liner, my 0.5, and filled in all of that gap. So came out pretty cute. Let's add even more stars to the background. I have a little bit of picket fence paint, and I'm going to thin it down with our gold shimmer spray. Just one spray, that's all it needs. I have an old toothbrush. That's what the dollar store's for, right? Ha ha ha. Just thinning down that paint, and by adding that shimmer, it'll add a sparkle to the paint that hits the paper. Now, just taking my thumb and running it through to get some fine spatter. I find a toothbrush gives you a little bit more control as to where you put your splatter, and you get some big and some small, and I like that. It looks more random. I'm just going to try and stick to the darker parts of my sky, because you don't see stars in the lighter aspects of your sky. Just a few. And there we go. We're going to let it dry, and we're going to color up our image. Alright, and there she is. I'm going to fussy cut her out. We're going to create the rest of our card. So we're going to lose some of the detail when I fussy cut our little witch. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stamp her on our background first. And what I've done, this is my Misty tool, and I've attached my stamp onto the lid just with some Scotch ATG gun. But because I can't really see it because it is a rubber stamp, I've placed a piece of acetate over top. So I'm going to first just trial to see the position and see if that's where I want her. So I'm inking her up with just some good old Memento, and I'm going to stamp her kind of where I think I want her. And that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I am going to first, because I don't want some of the stars. The star from her hat is fine, but I don't want the other larger stars. So I'm going to clean my stamp and mask off those stars so I don't get any ink on my card. So sorry, my Misty's a little squeaky here. So I've cleaned that off. Let's remove the piece of acetate. Put our magnets back just to hold our cardstock in place. So now I'm going to see if I can get this in the shot here. I'm going to take just good old and I'm going to put it over top of the stars that aren't attached to her hat. Like such. I'm going to show you. So I've put the Scotch tape over those stars. Now I'm going to take my Memento ink to my little witchy pool. Ink her up all nice and pretty. Then I'm going to remove those pieces of Scotch tape. Oh, very, very carefully. Excuse my arm. Okay, and now we're going to stamp her. Making good contact. And voila! So some of the details that I can't fussy cut, like the detail on her broom and maybe the string from her hat to the star, are all on the image. So I'm just going to clean this up and I'll come right back. We're going to make this a spotlight card. So I have my die here and I positioned it where I want it. I'm going to take some removable adhesive here. This is just some medical tape. And I'm going to stick it to my pants just a few times here. This stuff is extra sticky. Sometimes it rips the surface of my cards. So we're just going to attach that, minus the dog hair. Send this through my big shot. Be right back. One of the secrets to fussy cutting is to always cut out those pieces of paper that are small, like this void in between the legs. There's a little teeny spot here. There's a spot between her ear and her hair and her hat. Anything that's teeny tiny, if you do it before you fussy cut your image out, it's a lot easier to handle with your craft knife. So do that first before you fussy cut. Okay? One other additional touch to when you cut out a image out of white cardstock, take a medium toned gray and do the edges, because the white edges of your paper show, and just drag that marker along the edge just to get rid of those stark white edges. The only place that you shouldn't do that is anything that is skin colored, because you'll get a gray hue around it. In that case, go back to maybe your darkest skin shade and edge those skin areas with that. And that'll make for a nice finished edges on your fussy cut. And I'm going to do that with my multi-liner. This is a cool gray brush tipped multi-liner, which is very handy to get into those little teeny spots. I'm going to finish it up. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we have all our elements ready. I haven't cut out my little star out from her hat yet because I didn't want to lose it. She's all cut out, edged, and we've got our pop-up panel here with some foam adhesive on the back. I'm going to peel the backing off. And I'm going to pop that right back in its spot. So I'm just going to move it up and to the left just a tiny bit, just to get a hair of black edge there. And we're going to take her, and I'm going to use some multi-medium matte, because if it happens to seep out from behind her, it will dry matte and it won't be glossy. We're just going to line her up with that image. Her neck is very fragile. There's a little bit of movement time with this stuff. Just nice. Set her in place. So, I mean, you're not going to fussy cut out the ties to her cape. And that's where that stamping it first comes in. Then those details are already on the card. Okay, I'm gonna fussy cut this out, and I'm gonna add this to the card, and I'll be right with you. All right, just for some final touches here, I'm going to use my Secure Glaze pen. It's almost like putting glossy accents on your elements, but it's a really fine detailed tip. So you can get in to those smaller areas and add some shine. And it dries in about the same time frame that glossy accents does. So we're just gonna add some to her hair bobbles and the buckles on her hat and her shoes. And let's see, maybe the star, the moon and the star, and maybe her eyes. And I did a little bit on her hat detail. And of course, because you can never have enough sparkle, I'm going to use my Wink of Stella pen, and we're just going to add a little bit of shine to some of the details on her outfit and her hat. I think we'll do her entire cape, at least the purple aspect, and maybe her cuffs, and maybe her leggings, because they're just kind of... And here's our final card. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If so, give it a thumbs up, and we'll hope to see you next time at Scrapbooking Cards Today. Thanks for joining me. Have a great night.